Let's see how I did 104 portrait sessions in 2022.
Oh, that looks good too. Cool.
Lead the way, photo man.
I'm here with Megan. Oh, thank you.
You got it?
Yeah.
Do you know your windows down?
I think if I had made a resolution at the end of 2021 that I'd do 100 portrait sessions in a year, I'm not sure I could have done it. Aren't resolutions usually doomed anyway? But I've really reached a point where I want to do as much work as I possibly can. So right on the other side of that. Or, yeah, right there. So that brings us, finally, to this 104th shoot.
This is going to be really nice, actually.
The light over here, that way it looks like it's coming from the bookstore. Before I get into too many specifics about how I went about doing these sessions in 2022, this basic idea was pressing ahead with being a little late, it being a lot rainier than I expected. But hey, some movie productions spend like thousands of dollars just spraying down the sidewalks.
Mess that up. Okay. Great. All right.
So this neon sign right here was a major draw to this particular spot, but the light coming from the bookstore right next to us was also nice, and also gave me a clue as to where I could say the direction of the light was coming from. If I'd put it on the left and the bookstore was dark at the time, then maybe I could have claimed it was from a street lamp or something like that. I always like to try to mimic natural lighting in some way when possible. Also, this is my first photo session with Amber, and since we hadn't worked together before, I like to keep things pretty simple, even though this is not necessarily a simple situation. I try to keep the shot itself pretty simple. So the key here is to use the flash meter to meter the light falling on Amber, and then I use an external light meter so I didn't have to keep switching settings on my big flash meter to measure the background ambient light, which cranked in at about like half a second, I think. I think it balanced out okay. I would have preferred maybe a little blue in the sky, but still not bad at all. And if you'd like to see these photos and others from several other episodes in higher resolution glory that you can look at as long as you want to, you can join my Patreon for as little as $1 a month, like the really awesome people on screen here. I really appreciate it, and you can even get discounts on zines and updates on the channel. There's also a link in the description for that. Thank you.
This is great. Love it. Okay. Alright.
To deal with the slow shutter speeds shooting in this kind of light, I use the Hasselblad 503 CW on a tripod, of course, but I also use the mirror up function, which is usually when I tell the models that there will be 2 clicks, one for the mirror going up and one for the actual photo. This helps reduce vibrations from the slapping mirror. Oh yeah, I should probably mention that I'm shooting Cinestill 400D for all the photos in this video.
I like that pose.
I'm also using a short release cable on the Hasselblad, also additionally to reduce potential vibration and shake. Alright. Yeah. Okay, so that's 1 second. This may or may not work, but I'm okay with using a roll to try. This is not as close as it feels. Sorry. I think that might work. I was standing out of the way like that to avoid my reflection in the window. The camera itself was low enough that Amber blocked the reflection of the camera in the window, but I might have recorded in the window with light that was falling on me or whatever, so I just stood off to the side and used the release cable to avoid the problem entirely. I was firing to flash that pattern in the awning, hoping to have some kind of effect, but I think it was only mildly effective on maybe one photo. Now looking. Alright. Fighting the weather, timing, darkness, and low light levels kind of made this a perfect shoot to end 2022 with. You'll notice a theme of working all angles of a scene, especially on these shots where I'm just learning what looks good and how Amber also works best photographically. in keeping with the all angles theme, I was also trying the other side of the neon sign, which worked out fairly well, although I realized I wasn't going to get much different at this angle either, and we were starting to notice some lights across the street, in particular some red lights in a tree. You'll notice on these shots, as you're about to see them, I mostly forgot to Photoshop the legs of the light stand out of the bottom left corner of the photos. Well, on 2 of them. I did it on 1. But anyway, this is the nature of this channel. These photos aren't necessarily finished when you see them. I'm just showing you how they are at the moment. Finished is a fluid thing sometimes, and so I just kind of get it to where I feel okay with the public seeing it, I guess. Which once again fits into the theme of how I got 104 photo sessions squeezed into a calendar year. It's not all about planning to perfection. And that can work for some people, but when I try to plan to extreme perfection, it tends to wind up very sterile and honestly pretty predictable and weak. To quote something Dan Winters once said, "My rule of thumb is to have a good plan A, but always be receptive to and actively seek out a plan B." No movement. All right. The pictures don't look this close. Might do one more while that truck's going behind you. That could be cool. I saw what you mean. Let's look at it this way. This looks cool. Okay, that's great. 2 clicks. Okay, you got it. Cool. I'm just gonna see. Nah. Oh. This might be the last one here. Oh. Huh.
Hello?
Yeah, this will be the last one, so. This is kind of cool, though. I'm gonna go down. Come on, don't move, don't move. Be a good... All right. Used it. Cool. That was it? Cool. Are you good? Yeah. Yes. I know it was a little more experimental, but I didn't want to, like... Good. So I was putting off using flash at all to maintain the redness of these lights, and I knew there'd be a bit of a challenge because red isn't exactly the greatest only color to bathe your photos in. But you'll notice just as I decided not to use the phone as a secondary light, that car was pulling out of the bank across the street and provided us with a nice little glow which helped shape her face some, which was pretty cool. And with the end of that roll was the end of my last session of 2022. So how did I do that? Like I said, I really couldn't have done it intentionally from the start, I don't think. Almost everything I plan is done on a old school paper monthly planner, like this one. This is probably my 5th or 6th one, maybe more. They help remind me of appointments, of course, but they also help me visualize places where I can do more work, and I mostly get in touch with people by text message or Facebook or Instagram message, often the same model over and over again. No one is keeping score, I'm pretty sure, and I am not afraid of cold messaging people, although there's a set of rules you need to follow with that, and we'll have to get to that another time. But in the end, practice is good. The more opportunities you have, the more you can put up with cancellations and postponements and flaky people, which thankfully there weren't too many of, but there are lots of illnesses or work calls and stuff like that. And you've just got to be okay with not everything being perfect. There's the saying that done is better than perfect, and I'm a total believer in that. And if you keep doing, your done will be closer and closer to perfect. I think the more that you do, the more that you learn. And for me, following through on shoots that I struggled with paid off a lot, I think. I love the idea of shooting with intent, but I find I often don't have that luxury, and I find my intent by taking a lot of photos and reviewing them. If you struggle with finding your why, that might be the approach that could help you. These are the 104 shoots I did this year, all written on a list. They each taught me something. There are no wasted photos, there are no wasted rolls. If you just keep going, you can find your way there. I guess that's the one step in front of the other. And with this completed one step of 2022, it's time to get to 2023. Thank you for watching, and if you've been here for a while, thank you for joining me this year. I really appreciate it. Subscribe, turn on notifications, like the video, leave a comment. Let me know how long you've been watching. Click on the links here to watch some more videos I've made. And I hope you have a happy new year. Thank you.